Well, here's one I bet you didn't see coming. This is the HPI Venture18 U4 Ford Bronco 4400. Comes in brushed and brushless. This is the brushless fella. Now this looks familiar to me. It's similar to some other models that I have here at RC-TNT. However, it is very much its own machine. First up though, be aware, HPI approached me and they said, Craig, can we send you a car to show everyone? And I said, sure. Although it's a 1/18th, straddling the 1/24 scale size, depending on which brand you compare it to, this is going to have a lot of familiar bits from what you might see from other brands, but it's also going to have some pleasant surprises as well. Let's get into it. If you're familiar with this style of truck, you may be asking yourself, doesn't this have rear trailing arms and IFS? You'd be right. In real life it does. And so from another brand, you might be expecting to see something with more of this layout. IFS in front and trailing arms in the back. Well, barely trailing arms, but it is trailing arms. This is not what we have in the Fun-Haver here. After that's been noted, we can move on because it is certainly going to have some benefits being like this for the crawling front. And, you know, not everything has to be super scale. Your mileage may vary. It's on a lovely hinged system, and these can be removed with just 2 screws. It's very simple. It's got a lovely molded interior and the full-size functional spare wheel. Light buckets up top, not populated, but they can be populated, and you've got ample space here on this. It says RL700. It's HPI branded, so I can't tell you what it is except to say it's a partner that goes with this guy, which means it's going to be a FlySky because we have a FlySky radio, and this is the BS protocol. We're seeing more and more radios of this design. The FlySky has been making a very compelling option to manufacturers because the feature set is just so nice. It's a lovely, reliable system. The range is exceptionally good, and it does have a separate light control module. So you've got one wire that comes off the main all-in-one receiver, and that gives you a bunch of plugs for lights, so you can really go to town populating this with lights. Another nice thing is if you have this car, you can bind this to endless devices. It doesn't have memory built in, but it does have the ability to bind with anything, any other BS series, and you have a bunch of channels. Like really, you've got throttle and steering, you've got a thumb button there, another thumb button there, a 3-way switch here, a dial that has 3 positions with a center notch on it. Drag brake settings are 3 and 4. LiPo versus nickel metal hydride. It cuts power when the voltage gets below a certain voltage per cell, probably 3 volts per cell. And then you can reverse channels 4 and 5 using dip switches 5 and 6. That's just what it is. And then the standard dual rate for steering and throttle, and then your trims. I've got a battery here with an XT30, and I'm delighted about that because while this thing comes with a charger, among other things, spare wheel cover if you want to lose the wheel, we've got a, okay, this is a fairly standard thing, 5 volt 1 amp in and 7.4 1 amp out. You'll need more than 1 amp in to do that. Although this is a balance plug charger only, the fact that they've given you an XT30 means you can use your hobby grade charger, and that's actually what I did for this car today before this video. I have an adapter here where I've soldered an XT30 to an XT60. I've just soldered the connector together and put a wrap over it. The nice thing about adapters being that you don't have to use XT30. If you've got like a Deans or a T connector, you can make your own little male XT30 to female Deans, etc. So you can charge a hobby grade battery and storage charge a hobby grade battery, which is a big deal, helps it last longer. I like that this is 600, it's a good mid-size. It doesn't put too much weight over the rear, although this is not going to be a dedicated crawler. Gosh, there's a nice little shocks, hey? Speaking of shocks, they're plastic or alu all the way through? Plastic body with alu at the bottom on the thumb screw for the adjustable body height, and the top with plastic through the top, and so you've got an alu cap that keeps it on. These are going to last a good long time. Since we're looking at it now, this is a 1621 outrunner motor, 16 being the diameter of the thing and 21 being the length. There's another brand that does brushless these days that with outrunners in roughly this size, and they use a 12-12, which means it's 1.2 centimeters by 1.2 centimeters. So this is a longer and wider can. More power, more torque. It'll therefore use a bit more battery, but it's also going to be more resilient to heavy use. Now I see a servo mounted amidships here, which means this is a 2-speed transmission. This is an interesting vehicle, you know. We've got fiber links, drag link and steering link, lower and uppers. They're all kind of bendy plastic. Now, I've talked about this in the past. That's not all bad. Some flex is actually good for longevity, but when you want to upgrade the thing and get some more rigidity, yeah, you end up going with stainless steel. So we haven't got stainless steel links. We also have plastic telescoping drive shafts. It's a 3-piece in the rear and a 2-piece in the front with plastic universals. For heavy crawling, especially if this thing gets modded out and you weight the wheels and make it into a crawler, that's going to be a point of weakness. I don't know if the gears are metal or not. Let's have a quick look. If you're looking at this car and you're looking at other cars of similar layout, you know, brushless with this kind of 4-link front and rear, servo on axle, and we'll get to the servo, and 2-speed, you want to know what you're getting for your money, don't you? In some cases, these purchases are all about the body, and in this case, you're not going to find this precise body on other cars. You're just not. And if you're really into this style of thing, then yeah, have at it, you know, and you can work with the other stuff. Hey, all right, here we go. So we have what appears to be sintered steel gears and plenty of lubrication inside the diff, which is great. I just need to be able to see brass bushings. So this can get full of water and be less bothered. That's actually a plus for me. On a car like this, particularly if it's going to get wet, and bushings are actually preferable, in my opinion, because they can get wet all day long and nobody cares. What you just watched me do then is just reapply the grease over the gears. It was just globbed off to the side, which is fine, but since I've got it apart, I may as well apply it properly. Full metal gear transmission as well, so you don't need to worry about upgrading most of the drivetrain. The only part of the drivetrain you may upgrade are these plastic bits, as I mentioned. The servo is the SD02MGWR. It's a metal gear, waterproof servo. We're going to find out how strong that is in a minute. It's the 01WR for the shifting servo. We've got, whatever this is, 1.5mm hex screws throughout, except for where the servos are mounted. They're using little Phillips head screws. You do get the wheel hex, which is useful. Speaking of wheels, we've got vented tyres with foams. 64mm tyres, they're bead-locked wheels, plastic wheels, but they look nice enough. Standard size hex. It is a C-channel mild steel chassis, and everything is neatly routed from the wiring perspective. The battery tray is bigger than it needs to be for this little 600. It is, but not necessarily. Can we stand it up? Is there room? No, you can't. Okay, so you're probably stuck with this battery unless you change the location of the battery mounting. Now, when this servo on axle comes up, it leaves a lot of room. So you could actually fit a battery in the front there and it'd be all right, potentially. This outrunner could get in the way. It's actually going to crawl okay. The weight balance is going to be your main issue because it's, especially with the battery in it, it's going to be kind of heavy. Possibly rear biased, in fact. Let's find out. Midpoint? Yeah, it's definitely rear biased. You can solve this a little with metal components. Oh, look, these are bushings even on the front. Okay, so this thing really is ready to get quite muddy. You've got to think about why is a car made a certain way, right? This is the point where HPI, if you're watching, don't hate me. Please keep sending me cars. I'll keep buying them otherwise because this is what I've been doing. This is a confusing layout because we've got bushings all through. That's mud ready. Great. We've got metal transmission all through. Brilliant. We can run this thing hard and hot and in mud and silt and gross stuff and it'll be awesome except for that brushless motor. It's open at both ends. It'll get wet. You can submerge them, but once they get silt and stuff in them, they start to grind. You're starting to damage it and you start to damage your efficiency and whatever else, longevity. All right, now I purchased this one brand new in a box a while back. This is also the Venture18. This is a 1985 Toyota Hilux. I've never opened it. Brand new. I don't even know if I've got brushed or brushless. This is brushed. All right, that's fine. Inclusions are the same as what you get in here. So we have the same car. Brilliant. And you know, the nice thing about this is, now, if you're familiar with this model, that means you know this model. That's really good news. Let's have a look at the interior and compare the size of the things. I mean, they should be about the same size, shouldn't they? Smaller tires, I noticed straight away. Bigger wheels? I think these might be 1.0s and these are 1.3s looking at it. It's a 55-turn brushed motor. There's a complete operational light kit in here, which is really nice. The new one has functional lights in the front, but these top fellas aren't populated, which is kind of a strange thing given they've got the same setup here, 706, 706. I mean, brushed and brushless, obviously. Shifting servo is the 01WR, but I noticed the steering servo is also the 01WR. So this thing gets a better steering servo than the new one. It could be that the brushless version of this also does. Same running gear underneath, it should be, I'd imagine. Of course, the Hilux gives you sliders as well. Same suspension. I'm going to make an educated guess and say if you get the brushed version of either of these, this is what you're going to expect. And if you get the brushless version of either of these, this is what you're going to expect. So that tells us a couple of things, doesn't it? Is the radio the same? Yes, it's the same radio. Good. Although the tires are slightly larger on the Fun-Haver and they're a different tread, this new release is really all about a different body. That is really what it is. But it's a stunning body. And if we're going to compare these two, you might be interested in the Hilux, absolutely. I can understand that because it's very pretty. But this thing feels somehow more solid. And I think that's partly because it's like an exo cage with panels. It's got a full interior with drivers. And it just looks good, man. It just looks good. They've got the correct, appropriate bull bars on them for the style of car that they are. And I noticed these spotties aren't populated either, nor are the ones on top for that matter. The rear is even nicer. You've got a bumper underneath that bed. But on this guy, look at the departure angle. Departure angle is the angle from the ground off the back of the car. So this thing is going to be able to come off steep climbs and just kind of slide off it. Whereas this guy will get hung up. Let's have a look at this thing. So there's a lot of mass on this. This servo is pretty good. I mean, I'm squishing the tires pretty hard, right? So that's more strength than you're going to need, I would argue. Last thing I'm going to check is the dual rate. Can we turn that up at all? Do we need to? It's already pretty much maxed. Why we don't have drag brake working, I'm not sure. Do I really care? If I want to crawl with this thing, yeah, I kind of do. It's possible that these little dip switches would have more effect on the brush system. I don't know. Could be a firmware thing. Not sure. And I'll thank my channel members. Here they are, the Scratch Build guys. Thank you so much for your support each month, guys. Very much appreciated. If you would like to find out more about supporting the channel, with gratitude, thank you if you choose to. That's down below. Right, let's get this thing wet and muddy. It's a wet and muddy day. Now, aside from the brushless outrunner, I'm not at all concerned about mud or water today, because we are running those bushings in every part of the car. Now, bearings are advertised as being the benefit here, but honestly, bushings are where it's at if you're going to get wet. This is full speed. I'm now walking fairly casually. Let's pop it into second and see what happens. Yeah, she's got some go. Definitely, it definitely could be, could have a bit more weight down low, but I mean, it's been pretty stable so far. Oh, water, here we go. Well, I'm having fun, so I guess it is a Fun-Haver now. It does tend to roll, but what do you want? You could put some weighted wheels under it and it'll help. That doesn't get old. Oh, it's not bad, is it? Hey, it jumps all right. It does flip pretty easily. All right, I'm changing my mind. It is a little on the top heavy side. It's still fun though. Man, I just held that. We're back in first. My last question is, what's it like crawling? Out of the box, yes, it could use some better low weight. Oh look, by the way, this is what an outrunner does for you, if you haven't met one yet. Lovely low speed. So, good control. The tires are very wet, the rocks are wet, and it is raining. So, traction's an issue for any car in this kind of thing. Wet leaves as well. I notice it cocks a wheel when it's trying to climb. And I think now that I've spent some time with it, come on, reverse. It won't reverse. Why? There we go. It takes a little bit of time to drive a car, particularly when you've got so many, to work out exactly who it's made for and how it's going to, who it's going to please and who it's going to frustrate. This is not a rock crawling car. This is more of a higher speed small car than it is a crawler, but the 2-speed still gives you, I think, a good range. It's a good ratio 2-speed box. I feel like I've said this for a few cars recently, but this is one of those vehicles where if you're going away camping, especially if there's more than one of you, especially if you've got some little people with you, a car or two of this size where you can just go and explore trails, creeks, whatever, it'll keep up with you when you're walking as well, in first or second gear actually. You've got something here that'll just go and you don't have to really worry about braking it. If you don't get too serious on adding weight, back in a second, there we go, good reliable engagement there too. You really don't need to worry about going home in pieces, you know. The only single thing I might consider changing before going away for a long time would be maybe replacing those drive shafts with metal ones. I'm in second here and still doing slow stuff. That's the outrunner working for you. So I would say a good little all-rounder where you don't need to worry about killing it. Plus it's pretty, and if you like the body, well, you don't need me to tell you it's nice, do you? So it's a casual walk, you know. Second though, I think the tipping over would get a bit old and you might consider some weighted wheels, but otherwise, yeah, I like this thing, you know. I think it's all right. I'm definitely having fun, so it's living up to its name. Thanks, Fun-Haver. Thanks, HPI, for sending me this thing. I'll put a link to the best price I can find for this thing once it's released. And I hope, if you like this car, you get plenty of enjoyment out of it. I certainly can see myself doing that too. Might even put the radio in my boy's hand next time we go camping. And I might bring the Hilux. That sounds like a bit of fun, doesn't it? Thanks, guys. I'll catch you next time on RC-TNT. Throw me a like if you got something out of this one. Catch you next time.